The average American produces 4.4 pounds of waste per person per day, according to the EPA, and in 2013 alone, Americans generated 254 million tons of trash, but we're only able to recycle about 87 million tons of that. When comparing the United States to any other country, we are the worst when it comes to the amount of waste that we produce. Our landfills are overflowing, we don't have strict regulations, and as community members, we're simply not doing enough. Before we know it, waste will begin to overtake the world, and if it gets to that point, there may be little to nothing that we can do. I believe that while the amount of waste we produce could be controlled by individuals, there are facts that people just do not care enough and to make any major changes. It's kind of like the idea that what we don't see won't hurt us. We may feel bad that plastic is going into the oceans, but because we don't actually see the plastic going into the oceans, it doesn't have an effect over us. We may feel bad that 1 million birds and 100,000 marine animals die each year due to them eating plastic. However, we are still not making enough of a change because it's still happening. In many European countries, for example, Poland, Slovakia, Germany, etc., grocery stores offer plastic bags, but only if you pay extra for them. Because of this, many people bring their own bags and reuse them each time. So for example, my family comes from Eastern Europe. My mother is Slovakian and my dad is Polish. And every summer, I would spend my summers in either Poland or Slovakia. And I remember always being sent to the grocery store, and I would always buy whatever was on the list. And then I realized that whenever I came to check out, the price on the register ended up being higher than the amount of food that I had in my basket. And that's when I realized that I was being charged for these flimsy plastic bags. So that was one of the biggest culture shocks that I realized. But that also made me realize that other countries are already making a difference, trying to implement ways to decrease the amount of plastic because no one wants to pay more, especially in those Eastern European countries. They want to save money. So according to Conserving Now, we only recycle 1 plastic bag for every 200 that we use. Within the United States, there are over 300 million plastic bags that are consumed each year. So that comes out to a little over 300 plastic bags each month. Each time a family takes a trip to the store, they will use at least 15 bags. Now I know what you guys are thinking. This is a lot of plastic talk, but I want you guys to imagine. Close your eyes and just imagine that for a month, we don't use plastic bags. You go to grocery stores and you don't see any plastic bags. Now within that month, just think about all the plastic bags that your family alone would not have used. Now imagine if every single family across the United States did the same thing. You're looking at around 300,000 plastic bags. So within 1 month, that's how much of a change you could make. So imagine if you could create this change for more than a month or implement new laws for more than just a short time period. You would already have a huge impact over the environment. Sometimes you may think that because you reuse your plastic bags at home for trash, they serve a purpose, because most of the times when we bring in a plastic bag from the grocery store, we use it, we throw it out, or we save them. Now when we're saving them, I'm guilty of this, like in my own house, like we use them as trash bags in our bathrooms, which it does serve like a second purpose besides groceries. However, if you think about it, when you throw that out, not only are you now throwing out trash, but you're also throwing out that plastic bag, which doesn't allow it to be reused. And then when it does end up in the landfills, it eventually will make its way towards the ocean. But this is just so how, oops, well, that's a mistake. She's just going to have to watch that. So I think the best thing that we could do is not look only at ourselves and when we use plastic bags, but also look towards our government. Because if we could eliminate the amount of plastic bags that we use, either by person or if the government could implement a ban on them, it would just be a small solution to a problem that has multiple issues. It's not just enough that we stop using plastic bags. We can say that we are not going to use plastic bags, but let's be honest, how many people will actually follow through with it? Even I myself, like I try and limit the amount of waste that I produce, but sometimes if I have to go to the grocery store last minute, I catch myself using the plastic bags because it's a convenience thing. This is why it's not only up to the community to stop using these plastic bags, but it's also up to our government to pass laws that limit the production of them. But here's where we get into hot water, because of this thing called capitalism. People want to make money, and let's face it, plastic bags are a huge business. Now we have already made some progress with some stores like Aldi that charge their customers for each bag they use. For example, in California, We have already passed some legislations that bans the use of single plastic bags in large retail stores. Hawaii has a ban on plastic bags that are non-biodegradable. There are a few other cities like Portland, Seattle, Washington that already impose fees on these plastic bags, but this is just a few compared to the 50 states that we have. We are making progress, but it is still not enough. There's so much more that can be done, and it is up to the grocery stores, supermarkets to implement a cost on each plastic bag or just not use them at all. Only then will we begin to see a change, and we will see changes because we can see this idea being used in other countries. So that's basically all I have for like right now. I plan on like elaborating more towards like how capitalism has like affected the huge thing of plastic bags. And then when it comes to like talking about the bans, I know I want to like add a little bit more, and then in that area I want to compare it to like what other countries do, and like kind of explain like if they do this, this is how we could do it as well. So that's kind of like, because this is just like really like my rough draft, but I know I want to like add that stuff into it.
But I think the rough draft is good. It's really good. So what are your goals and hopes for like this session?
So like for base with us or with this, so like basically, I think my biggest challenge is sometimes like I don't want to like, this is like a script and it's just kind of like the outline, but when I'm presenting, like I'm not going to have this in front of me. So like I think the biggest thing for me is like just figuring out like how I can like kind of like do it more so like this, because right now I was like reading and trying to like practice it that way, but I think like after practicing it more and more, I can get to a point where instead of like reading it, like I'll have bullet points and then I can just elaborate on each one. But
I say, because I think the strong point was obviously the story and like the statistics that you had, but I think one way to grasp like the audience from the jump is like do that that thing where you said like have the audience like close their eyes and think about like us not using plastic bag. I think that will grasp the audience from the jump instead of like pulling out the statistics. Then after you have the audience close their eyes and think about the scenario, then you can bang.
So you would say start with the plastic, like closing your eyes and think about that. Okay.
Because I think that would create like a sense of like having the audience think in like a different perspective. And then instead of just hitting with the statistic at first, I think that had like a strong viewpoint from the intro.
And then also like within this, so like this is supposed to be like right now it's like more plastic talk, but I also like want to implement like waste in general, because like if you drive around America, like you will pass landfills at some point, and you can like smell them, you can see them. Like I can't, like I drive a lot when I'm back home in Poland. Like we like do road trips everywhere, because it's like it's Europe is small compared to like America, and I literally like I never see landfills. They're just so limited. So I also want to like somehow bring in, because I feel like I went from talking about waste to just plastic bags, which is part of it, but I also like want to include like just waste in general, because like for example like at Woodworth, like I'll go and like there's just so much like to go silverware, like to go this stuff, and I just think that's part of the problem too. Like fast food, like I think that is like one of the big one of the big areas where we get all of this like extra like trash. I just don't know where I could like add that.
What even maybe talk about like how all this waste even like hurts the environment. Talk about maybe like that aspect, because I feel like not a lot of people like I know people know about it, but not really people like really know what all this waste and all these other things are doing to the environment, or even to like the animals. Cause I know like it always like I know in all the different oceans they like affect animals in a negative way. So maybe even like incorporate that kind of into it.
I was also thinking, how like do you use Facebook? But, okay, so like or Twitter, okay, so like how sometimes you're scrolling and someone shared a post and you see like them pulling a straw out of a turtle's nose or something like that. So it's like people do see it, but like it's different when you see a video of it and like it has an effect on you. But like I don't like if it really had that much of an effect, like there would be changes like made, like and so like I still want to add that in here too. It's like like this is one of the things we can do to fix it, but like this is why it's still a problem, because like that's like the main thing. It's like it's a problem because like even though we know it's an issue, I don't think people care enough, and so I want to put that in there to be part of like the whole like what the problem is, and then like the way, like, in the end, like, at the end, what I'm going to talk about, you know, like, people can say they want to fix it, but in the end, like, they're not going to do it because it's just convenient.
Right.
So then I want to add, like, the solution to it would be, like, you know, I think it's up to, like, laws and legislations need to be passed. That if, like, a law is implemented, then people are going to be forced to follow it.
Right. So then were you going to add, like, anything visually to it?
Yeah, so I was thinking, like, in the background, I might just have, like, a PowerPoint, like, playing on, like, a slideshow.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, just showing, like, maybe pictures of landfills.
Okay.
And then, like, oceans and, like, just, like, maybe, like, I've seen, like, pictures where there's just, like, hundreds of thousands of, like, plastic bags that are, like, you know, there. So I was thinking if I had, like, a slideshow playing, but then again, like, I feel like maybe, like, if I used a visual aid, that would be more helpful, too.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I want to do just, like, a slideshow playing on repeat of, like, images, or if I'd rather turn it into, like, a PowerPoint where, like, I can, like, click through each slide.
Right.
So what do you think?
I think just have a PowerPoint, click through each slide, and just have, like, obviously you're gonna go over your presentation and just, like, have each slide timed to a certain amount of time. So then that way it seems like more structured than just pictures, like, scrolling.
That's true. Yeah. It's a good thing you printed this.
Oh yeah. So then, why do you think, like, this topic is gonna, like, be effective?
I think it's gonna be effective because, like, I know, like, someone earlier in the year talked about it. I missed that presentation. It's a girl from Portland, Maine. She talked about it, and so I think it's, like, something that, like, affects everyone, like, indirectly. So, like, I feel like, you know, if someone even, like, slightly gets, like, if someone sees a picture of, like, an animal, like the whales that have, like, and I'm not, like, a huge environmentalist, but it does, like, upset me and pisses me off that like, we see there's a problem and nothing's being done about it.
Right.
Because, like, even though, like, right now, like, it's not, like, you know, like, I think it has, like, a, while it's waste, but, like, you know, there's also, like, so much pollution.
Yeah.
Like, there's, like, I believe in global warming. Like, I think there's like there's something wrong.
Right.
So even if not for me, but, like, I feel like it'll draw audience members in because, like, of the next generation, you know, like, their kids or whoever else. Like, that's why I think it's, like, an effective topic because, like, maybe you don't care about it, but, like, you know, at some point, like, it will take its toll on people.
And that's good. I think you need to, like, some way incorporate that because, like you said, it upsets you that this is going on. Maybe, like, kind of incorporate that passion that you have.
Yeah.
To add more a sense of what's the word I'm looking for? Authenticity.
Yeah.
To the audience to show that, like, this is a topic that, like, I really care about.
Yeah.
And that I am passionate about, and show that to the audience. And I think that add more credibility.
Yeah.
To you and the topic itself.
Because I think, like, one of the main problems, like, why it is the way it is because, like, I mean, it's just so convenient for people. Like, people don't care. Like, you go to the grocery store, like, people don't, like, want to go buy a $2 grocery bag. But then, like, you know, if you think about it, like, they would save, like, but it's just, like, it's a convenience thing. And so, like, I think that's, like, one of the big problems that, like, yeah, people see it as an issue, but it's just so convenient for them to go to the store. Or when they pick up their to-go meal, like, it's wrapped in the plastic bag. Like, it's just such a convenience thing.
Right.
So, like, I feel like within my speech, not only do I have to show, like, what the problem is, but why it's still happening.
Exactly.
And I think I can do that by, like, saying, like, you know, like, maybe it's not affecting you right now, but think down the line, you know? Like, and, like, so I'm trying to, like, I need to add that within the speech to be like, why they should care in the first place, you know? I think that would help, like, bring people in, like, more like, oh, this is why I should care. Because, like, if I have a kid and they want to go swimming in the ocean, and then so.
Because you have, like, because I used to work, like, in high school, I used to work at a Marsh. I don't know if you've heard of that, like a grocery store.
Marsh. Is it an Indiana one? Or?
I think so.
Okay, then maybe I would.
Yeah. So I was, like, a bagger, and obviously we have, like, plastic bags or, like, paper bags.
Yeah.
So obviously the people who had the paper bag, obviously, you know, like, cared more. Well,
like, because it's like paper's a little bit better than the plastic.
Right,
yeah.
Right. So me in the back of my mind, when people, like, chose plastic, I didn't have that thought in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
So
but even you, like, as a bagger, you probably, like, how many bags, like, did you go, like, just think about it. And, like, I mean, Walmart, Target, like, all these different stores, like, if you just, like, on like if you just like try and imagine like how many it is that they go through,
Right.
like it's crazy.
Mhm.
Like my family in Europe, like when we go, like they literally charge you like 25 cents, which is nothing. But if you have like 15 like bags,
Yeah.
and they're like flimsy, so like you put stuff in and they rip. So like
Mhm.
they purposely like overcharge you for these flimsy bags. So we all just bring our own,
Yeah.
and it's just like it makes so much more sense. But it's like, why do people there do it,
Yeah.
but then not here?
Right.
You know, like what's the difference? Like we're all
Mhm.
on the same thing. It's like
Yeah.
why is like America struggling so much? Because like if you look at all the stats, America is ranked like as like the worst one. Like first, like we produce so much more than any other country.
Yeah.
So like and like we see this as a problem. Why aren't we fixing it?
Mhm.
You know, like you don't want to be proud. Like you should
Right.
be proud for like other stuff, not the fact that you're the nation that produces
Exactly.
the most waste.
Because I feel like there are people out there that are like clueless to what's like really going on.
Yeah.
With the environment of the different like plastic bags or just plastic
Yeah.
anything in waste.
Yeah.
So I think that definitely adds to it. So for your personal story, so when were you gonna like incorporate that into?
So the personal story, do you think I should add more to the one where is the personal story like why this matters to me, or
Well, no, because remember you was talking about how like you visit Europe.
yeah, in Europe, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, do you think I should keep that where it is and then move? Because I have that. Let me see. I think I have that after I talk about me going to Europe. The imagine,
Mhm.
like close your eyes. So if we moved the close your eyes and imagine like whatever, you know, like a world with no plastic bags for a month and a half.
Yeah.
If I start with that, then I could go into like the statistics that I had, and then I could talk about the story.
Yeah.
So I could make that third.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Okay.
Make that third.
I think that would be better too, because like if I start off with that, I think that would like grab your guys' attention, like you were saying earlier. Like close your eyes, think about it,
Yeah.
and then if I start like saying all these facts and stuff, then it'll be like, oh shit, you know, like it'll start to make sense more.
Yeah, and maybe even like, and maybe after you do that, maybe you can have like a picture of like waste fields on your PowerPoint slide to kind of show that like visual effect to go with your statistics.
This just sparked something. What if I like brought in plastic? Would that be weird if I
No.
maybe like what? Because I have so many like I live in a house with 4 other girls, so there's 5 girls.
Yeah.
So every time we do grocery shopping, we like put it all in like one big like box thing, and then we like recycle them at Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
But like I could bring all of those in and then maybe just like dump them on the ground.
Yeah.
And like maybe that could be like, I don't know, like an attention getter, because like if they maybe that could like catch people's attention too.
Or even like because you can incorporate that with your statistic, like just like probably just have
like I have so many right now.
Yeah,
and
bring a box of like bags, and then like once you're talking about the statistic, kind of just like throw them on the ground.
Yeah. Like I could literally just dump them and be like, this was from one grocery trip or something like that, you know, and be like, this is where it could end up if it's not like recycled properly or if it's used for this. Like, I feel like that, I don't know why I came up, like, it literally was something you were saying, and I was like, oh, I have plastic bags at home.
Yeah, or even maybe that you can incorporate that, like, into your conclusion.
Yeah.
That kind of be, like, drop the mic type
like, boom.
Yeah. So, I think either way, if you have it in the beginning or the end, I think it's going to be
I could also maybe do something where, like, I have the plastic bags and, like, you know, like, maybe, like, as I'm saying, like, I could use like, I can say my story, and then, like, I could dump them, and then, like, as I'm saying, like, imagine, like, I could be, like, you know, for a month, and I could, like, start moving the plastic bags, like, just show, like, how much more could be, like, limited, or how much more you could save doing that.
Right.
And I do have them, so I could bring them in. I feel like that could be, like, a, oh, shit moment,
you
know?
Yeah, that definitely be.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, do you think there's anything that you have that you might, like, have too much of that you want to like cut down maybe a little bit, or
so like I said, like it's supposed to be more of like the waste in general, but I found like the bigger issue is like one of my main talking point is the plastic bags. So I just feel like I say plastic bags a lot, and I feel like maybe that's too much, and I don't know if maybe I should like kind of like reword some of it, so that I just hate that I like it went towards plastic bags when it was supposed to be just like waste in general,
Yeah.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if there's like a way I could like cut down on it and then maybe add like other waste, like for example, like styrofoam or like other things like that.
Yeah.
But
since you are talking about waste in general, I feel like you can talk about different types of waste.
Yeah.
And how it's affected that. 'Cause like obviously you have your personal story about it. So yeah, I feel like if you tackle since waste is such a broad topic, I feel like you can tackle like a whole bunch of different things with waste and not just talk about like.
Do you think I should cut down on any areas? Like for example, like I have like the examples of the cities, and I feel like I could elaborate a little bit more, but instead of elaborating on like plastic, I could be like, yeah, they have fees here, but like also Aldi, like that's like you've heard of Aldi, right?
Yeah.
So like I know Aldi, like they charge for each plastic bag, and then like when you have the grocery cart shopping thing, like they make you put a quarter in, so that you can like, and so that like helps like save costs and things like that. So maybe I could like focus on ways that like you know some like grocery stores around us like try and limit the.
Right.
So maybe instead of like also just talking about like the states that have like imposed fees, like I could be like these places have imposed fees, and then maybe like within that same area, I could be like, not only have they imposed fees on plastic, but they have also like, I don't know, like limit the like if you go maybe like there's some places like you can't take to go, or like you bring your own like Tupperware or something like that. Like maybe I could include that just to like kind of go away just from the plastic bag idea.
Or even maybe talk maybe if there's stores out there or even restaurants that don't even like offer plastic bags. They offer alternative bags. They kind of maybe look up to see why they're doing it, like the reasons behind that.
Yeah, for sure. I think so I just think I need to, because like I know like I could even like instead of just talking about plastic bags, like I think it's plastic in general, because you know like when you get a 6-pack of Coke, those rings, like they tell you to cut them now because like they were getting cut around like all these animals. So it's like even maybe bring those facts in, like, you know, like it's not just plastic bags that are in the ocean, like there's also this kind of plastic or this style, like maybe like at some point, because like I think at this point, without elaborating on every single thing, I was at 6 minutes, so I could add after all of this, then I could be like, you know, it's not just plastic bags, we also have this kind of waste that goes in, because like,
and then you could probably even add bring in like a variety of different plastic items, like plastic bags or plastic rings, like styrofoam.
I think that could be helpful to like have have my PowerPoint with slides to help me like stay on topic. And then like also like visual aids, you know, like have those plastic bags that we talked about, and then maybe like if I could bring in like the rings, you know, like show them like this stuff, like this is all waste. And then like styrofoam, like that's not recyclable. But like there's so many so many fast food chain restaurants that like that's like their I don't know, it's because it's cheaper, but then it just sits there, you know. So I also know that like, you know, Keurig, the little coffee machine, it comes with like the pre-made coffee, you stick it and then you close it and it makes your coffee. So like those plastic things apparently aren't like, you can't recycle them. So then there's like landfills full of just like plastic cups. And they just sit there because like Keurig, like I read this somewhere that there's just tons and tons of like landfills that are just full of these like Keurig cups, and they're made out of plastic, but for some reason they can't remake them into anything else. So maybe add that too, just to like break up the idea of the plastic bags.
So were you going to talk about like the benefits of not having like plastic in general?
So that was one of the things I haven't like gotten into, but I think that after all of this, like when I go into I'll do like a recap where I say, you know, like governments can pass legislations, and then like people will have like be forced to follow it, and then the benefits, I'll be like, you know, like landfills, like they give off this like gas, I forget what it's called, I'll have to look it up, but they give off a gas that's like harmful to the environment and harmful to like people in general. So if you can limit that already, like you're already improving like air quality and land quality around you. You're improving your oceans, and like, you know, like we get a lot of like resources from our oceans and things like that. So I'm sure I could go like find like more benefits, but like overall it would just be like, you know, like you're not wasting resources, you're creating a better environment, and like, you know, like I think waste and like pollution kind of go hand in hand. So if like factories that produce plastic bags, like if you know, unfortunately, like, I don't care if they go out of business,
Yeah,
but, like,
yeah.
that's part of the whole capitalist thing idea
Okay.
that, like, you know, like, they're not going to want to just stop making plastic bags because that's how they make money.
Right.
But, like, those factories, like, I doubt that they're emitting, like, good pollution into the earth in general. So, like, you're already kind of just, like, limiting, like, even if it's just one minor change like that, like, you're already, like, making it, I think, a much bigger difference.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I think that could go, like, towards the end, like, after talking about the problems,
Right.
and then be like, and this is what would happen if we were able to
Mhm.
change these things.
What about even back to the intro, like even after the whole close your eyes thing, maybe even like asking us, say, you know, are we like plastic bag users or even
Like, ask a
paper-
question
yeah,
to the
yeah,
audience. I'm going to write that
yeah.
down so I have that.
So kind of in a way, like for the people that do use plastic bag, in a way, like call them out. I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah. Yeah, after I was, like, trying to figure out, like, what I wanted, like, my TED Talk to be, it's like, what the heck am I, like, passionate about, you know? And I'm, like, trying to figure this shit out. And then I realized, like, I have been trying to, like, use less, like, resource, like, less like, all this stuff, like, just less of it. And then I realized, like, I'm still freaking guilty of the plastic bags. So I bring, like, Lululemon bags to grocery stores, and I use those. Like, they're massive and they're durable, you know? And so, like, even, like, just that minor change. So it's, like, and I doubt, like, you know, like, it's just crazy because, like, whenever I'm home, it is, like, it's, like, a common knowledge. Like, it's second nature. Like, you bring your bags to the grocery store. Or even, like, it's more so with the grocery shopping than it is, like, clothing. Because, like, clothing brands, like, they give you the bags. But it's so big with grocery store. And it's just grocery store shopping. And it's, so that was just, like, one of the biggest difference. Like, that's when I was, like, this could be a topic. Like, I could bring, like, why is it not, like, second nature for people in America to, like, bring it? Is it, like, a culture thing or is it a law thing? And so I think it's kind of both because, like, you know, like, they charge them in Europe, but, like, it's been implemented for so long that people just do it now out of habit, you know?
So what do you think, as far as, like, speaking wise, what do you think are some of your, like, more, like, skill set, like, great skill set that you, like, bring to the table?
I think the stories. I think the personal experiences will really help because, like, for those, like, that's easy for me to talk about because, like, I saw it happen all the time. So I think the stories will give it, like, that authenticity.
Okay.
And so I think that'll help with, like, me not sounding scripted.
Okay.
So I think the stories, and then I think just talking about, let me see, where was it? I think talking about how, like, when people, like, you know, like, and I think when I talk about how people know it's a problem, but they're not really doing anything because they don't care.
Yeah.
Like, let's face it. Like, I just think, like, that's, like, that's kind of, like, a good selling point for me because, like, I feel like I'm just kind of speaking to everybody about it. And I think that kind of, like, clicks with people. So I feel like the story, and then when I mention, like, you know, people just don't care enough because it's not affecting them right now.
Yeah.
I think that's, like, a honest, you know, like, I feel like sometimes people, like, sugarcoat things. They don't say it how it is.
Yeah.
But I honestly think that's, like, the big problem. Like, I just don't think people really care.
Yeah.
It's not, like, affecting them. And, like, I bet, like, if they, like, for example, I live, like, an hour away from the beach.
Okay.
But there's no, like, plastic that's washing up on my shore. So it's not bothering me. But, like, there are places that when they go to their beach, there's, like, plastic and there's animals washing up ashore.
Yeah.
So if, like, I mean, in Indiana, we don't have oceans. But, like, you know, like, imagine if like, you go to your summer lake and, like, you're at the lake that you and all your friends go, and then all of a sudden, like, you step on, like, a can.
Yeah.
You're like, where the hell did this come from?
Right.
So I think, like, that's, like, the big problem, like, when people don't see that. So once they start seeing it, and when I talk about, like, once you are actually experiencing it and seeing it, that's when I think it's, like, starts to register.
Yeah, and I think that would be also a good thing to, you know, and take on because you are from Florida, so obviously this will impact more people from Florida than people from Indiana.
Yeah.
So kind of, because I think most of the people in our class are from Indiana. That's just my assumption.
I think so, yeah.
So maybe just even incorporate that like I don't think people from Indiana, just people in the Midwest, are particularly have that conscious in their mind, but like.
Do you think that if I added, like, a story from, like, me living in Florida, for example, like, you know, spring break?
Yeah.
Like, I've never gone on a college spring break because I'm always traveling for tennis. But, like, I know that, like, my parents like avoid the beach for like weeks after
Yeah.
because Clearwater, St. Petersburg, the beaches we go to, they get absolutely trashed. Like
Yeah.
college kids, like they leave all the glass, plastic, like they just don't take care of it.
Right.
And so it's like, you know, people leave and then they don't have to see it. But then for like 2-3 weeks after that, all the locals, like we're like staring at all this trash and we're like, what the heck, you know?
Yeah.
And then some of it gets picked up, but then like the stuff that doesn't, like that goes into the ocean, you know? So maybe like, do you think if I added that
No. Yeah.
in there?
Yeah, I definitely think, yeah, that would be good because that's totally different from Indiana because Indiana obviously doesn't have to, because I think we have like Indiana Beach or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we obviously don't have to go through the same things you guys have to go through versus here. So yeah, I think that would definitely offer more credibility to it. So
where would you add that though? Like, do you think I could add that? Like, so here I'm talking about like stop using plastic bags, like capitalism. Should I add that? Maybe I could create like when I start talking about waste in general, when we were talking about like limits, like small, like making the plastic bags conversation a little bit shorter, and then talking about waste in general, like the styrofoams. Should I maybe add that in that one?
Yeah, because you're talking about two different aspects of waste, and obviously in that story there's a whole bunch of different types of waste. So yeah, I think that would be good once you talk about that and kind of incorporate that after.
Okay.
I think that's a good spot.
Okay,
for it.
sounds good. I'm gonna add that in my notes so that I have it.
So comparing like TED Talks that you've seen and like some of the obviously presentations that you've done, like what skill sets have you seen from like good TED Talk that you want to like incorporate into your own?
So I was watching I was watching like multiple TED Talks, and one of like especially the coaching example, I liked how they were more. I feel like every speech I've given like up until this point has been like, here are the facts, this is what I'm talking about, like, and I think with this speech, what I'm gonna try and do differently is instead of having like this, and this, like I feel like I'm gonna try and speak more off the cuff because I think that'll become more like natural, and I feel like, you know, whenever I watched all the presentations on TED Talks, like I just like the way like I watched one even yesterday in one of my classes, and it was this actress, her name's Judy something, and she was talking about like sexual assault, and like she was able to flow from like one idea into the next, and like it was like really clear, but at the same time it like left such a powerful message at the end. So like if I were to like be able to like flow from how much weight, like imagine this, and then move into like the waste that we produce, and then like move into like the plastic bag scenario, and then move into the waste, then tie in my story, and then like have like, if it could just kind of like flow nicely like that, then I think it would like be like effective. It's just like making like tidying it up and making sure it like is clean. Because I feel like all the TED Talks we've seen, like they all look so like professional and crisp, and like honestly, like I'm not the best like public speaker. Like I get so much anxiety when it comes to it. But if I'm having a conversation with someone, it's so much easier because it's not as like pressured, you know? So it's like watching those videos, it's just nice to see like how they're able to like flow from one idea to the next, and like it literally sounds like they're reading an essay, but they're not. So I wish like I could have like an essay and then like read it as if like I'm like reading a script, and like being able to do it that way. So if I could do something, like I would want it to sound like I wrote this nice paper, but then like it sounds as if I'm just like speaking it from my mind, you know?
Yeah, because I think for people, for the TED Talk people that do topics like that, and their like transitions are really, I think it's
smooth. Like it's so smooth, and I just like can't figure it out.
And I think it's for the simple fact that like, at least from the ones I've watched that are really good, I think it's because of that topic they're like really passionate about. And it offers a sense of like vulnerability. So it's more like authentic, and it's more comfortable to them. So I think that's why like the transitions are so smooth, and just based off our discussion today, like I can tell like this is something like you really want to
Yeah.
like just
Well, yeah,
talk
and I
about.
think like at first like I wasn't like all that sold into it, but the more I read about it, I was
Mhm.
like, holy shit, like we're terrible. Like we really are bad with it,
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
And like, cause I mean, I would say like within like the last year is when I've become more like aware of like the stuff I'm throwing out and all this stuff. But before that, like I really didn't care. And I would see the shares on Facebook and I'm
Yeah.
just like, what's one person gonna make a change? Cause like, I think that's like a common thought that everyone thinks. It's like, well, what? I'm not gonna do it, but 10 other people will.
Right.
So I think like the main point of the whole TED Talk, the one I'm gonna give, is like there's like I don't think like as a community people would come together. Like I think like a higher power has to like implement something, and that's the only way like it will get better.
Right.
Because people just don't have like the self control, like the restraint to just you know it's just not part of our culture because we haven't been doing it ever.
Yeah.
So. As far as like conclusion, how do you think I should like like get him?
In my personal opinion, I think the whole box with the different types of plastic, I think that'll be perfect.
Yeah.
For the conclusion.
So I would you would say to save that.
Yeah, save that.
Keep the imagine at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then save the plastic bags at the end.
Right.
Okay. Would I be like, should I say something? I'm trying to be like something not corny, but like I finish like the last pitch, like the last idea, and then I'll be like, just dump them and be like, see, these are all the plastic bags that were used in one trip, or 4 trips to the grocery store. Now, if any of my ideas that I have mentioned to you guys were implemented, this alone would have been saved. And then I'd be like, now look at all the people in this room. Like, this is just from one person alone.
Yeah.
Now imagine, like, how many people are in our class? Like,
probably like 30.
So I'll be like, multiply this by 30 people.
Yeah.
And multiply these bags that amount. So it could probably fill half the room with plastic bags within just 4 trips.
Yeah.
Be like, if we could implement the things I've talked about, we could eliminate.
Yeah, that's real good.
Okay.
That's really good.
Because I hadn't thought about like how I could like really like get him at the end.
Yeah.
Like that aha moment. Like I feel like my aha moment kind of starts off with like the imagine this, and then like then like it catches you, and then it talks about all the waste, and then I think that could be like another like oh crap, like that is a lot of trash.
Yeah. And even when like you're dumping the bags, maybe even like describe the different types of bags that you have.
I could be like, this was grocery stores, this was shopping, this was this, and then like
and how each bag plays a factor in the environment, and be like, and this is just from one person. Just imagine, like you said, imagine all 30 of us doing it. It would be like a lot more way back.
Yeah, and that's just bags. Like us 30, and then how many people are in America?
Right.
Like
Right. Yeah. So even like take her to that broader aspect of us 30 to the Boston University, to the country, to the world, and just if each one of us, don't use plastic in general, just think about the impact that it has.
Yeah.
Not only to us, but like to the environment in general. Because we want to make sure like our world like stays here for as long as we can. So just
even if like like it might not happen, like obviously like the end of the world wouldn't happen within our generation.
Yeah.
But if nothing keeps happening, like where else is this stuff gonna go? Like at some point it will catch up to us.
Right.
Do you think within like the plastic bags still then I should bring out the plastic rings and like all that stuff? Okay.
Yeah. Because like we talked about, we feel like people know about it, but really they don't know that like the
because they don't see the effects of it.
They don't. Yeah, like you said, they don't see the effects of it. And even like when you dump the bags, maybe you would have like pictures of each bag on your PowerPoint and kind of like go into detail of the implications of what each type of plastic does. Yeah,
for sure. Because I know like within the thing, like when I was reading about like research trying to figure out like what states like have fees or bans, like there are some places that have like biodegradable plastic.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you know, like obviously like in Indiana, I'm not gonna have biodegradable plastic,
Yeah.
but it's like, you know, like there are already like some things that are being done. So like I could even like maybe bring that up as an example. Like this is the plastic, just regular plastic that takes forever to be reused, or it ends up in landfills or the
Right.
oceans. But then there are other options like reusing, or there are these biodegradable ones, you know. And so like I could maybe bring up and show like the difference between the two in that as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think one thing that might like how many statistics were you planning on to use?
Right now, I just have the 4.4 pounds of waste per person that we have. We produce over 254 million tons of trash. We only recycle like a third of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's it there. And then I have some statistics on the plastic bags itself that with every 200 bags of plastic, only one gets recycled.
Yeah.
So I only have those really. Do you think it's too much,
No,
or you think it's fine?
Yeah, I think that's fine. I was wondering maybe there's like a map of like the country of like who uses
the most, like state-wise.
Yeah, state-wise.
I could put that in on a slide to kind of give people like an idea,
Right.
like, and then like maybe if I put that up on the slide, do you think if I did like a second slide next to like in comparison, be like, for example, like I guarantee you California is really low with the amount of plastic bags because like they have them banned.
Right.
Hawaii has plastic bags banned as well.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so it's like, if I can compare that, be like, see, like these laws are clearly working there. No one's complaining about it. Like, it's not like it's the end of the world because they don't have a plastic bag in the grocery store.
Exactly.
And so like, I could be like, you know, like, what is it? What's that saying? It's like the proof is in the pudding.
Oh, yeah. The proof is in the pudding.
So like, here, let me add that because I'll add that. Maybe here. I'll do like a state. Like a state-by-state comparison. Okay, I think that'd be cool, just to like kind of also show like, you know, because I know like California, Hawaii, like they have them completely banned. Like you can't like use plastic bags. That was in one of the surveys. So if I could like compare that and like be like, see, like this is what this state did.
Yeah.
This is like the effect. Like this is how much waste they're producing now because of it.
Right. So what has the government done to like play a factor in this?
So
that you know about.
So like from what I've read, the government has passed like legislations, but it wasn't overall ones. It's like, so like every state, like they can bring up a bill and then like if that it gets passed through Congress, but like to get through all that point, like it has to be like brought up, and like the ones that have been brought up haven't been like nationwide.
Yeah.
They've all been like a state one, you know? Because like I think it's easier to pass like a state by state than it would be to pass all 50 at once.
Right.
Kind of like weed, like marijuana. Like they can't make like one big like pass it all statewide. Like it's been going like first it was what was it, Seattle, then it was Colorado, then like little like state by state.
Yeah.
So I think like maybe I could even add this, like maybe like it could be implemented the same way, like state by state, because like I mean it'd be drastic to just December 3rd, no more plastic bags, you know. So I feel just like it was with weed, it's not like it was like a big like it takes time, you know. It's not like you're gonna see, but if you can do like one by one, then I think it'll become like that's how like the legislations can get passed, because I don't think you can pass one big thing and fix a problem. Like it won't work like that.
Yeah.
But I think that if like each state like raises its concerns and like proposes ideas, you know, like even if it doesn't necessarily mean like it could be banning plastic bags, or it could be like putting a charge on plastic bags.
Right.
And then like, you know, I mean, I for one, like I'm not gonna keep spending like 30 cents a plastic bag just because like I didn't, when I could buy like a reusable one for $1, you know.
Yeah.
And then this just reminded me like another thing. In Sweden, one of the ways that they like kind of give like an incentive to like their people to like recycle plastic bags is like if they buy a bottle of Coke, a plastic bottle of Coke, it'll be like, let's say it's like 120. When they buy it, they'll pay like 145.
Yeah.
And like that 25-cent difference is like insurance that like there's like these places all throughout Sweden where like you put the bottle back in and it dispenses 25 cents.
Right.
So you get that money back. So like, you know, I know there's a couple places in Europe that do that, but I know Sweden does that. So like people will like gather up like 10 plastic bottles, throw them in, and then they'll get money back that they paid extra, and that's like their insurance coverage.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I mean, if that country can do it, like, why couldn't we implement something like that?
Right.
And I guarantee you, like, people like homeless or kids, like, I guarantee you they would start collecting. Like, if they saw it, they would start collecting, turning it in, and then, like, you know, like, you're gonna get pocket change, but, like, you know, you throw in a couple, and then, like, you got, like, $3.
Yeah.
You can get something with that.
And even, like, then, maybe, like, because now I'm thinking about the whole, like country comparison thing. Maybe instead of having the chart of like state by state, maybe you can like have like maybe like a country by country comparison.
Okay.
And see how like for the countries that you know don't use as much plastic or even take plastic away, how that's like affected their environment versus how like countries that do implement more plastic, how that's like. To kind of do like a compare like contrast.
Because I think that could add to like the whole like claim that they have less and this is what they're doing.
Right. So
like if we could implement some of those ideas, like it may not like you know, I think even like minor changes like that like would make a huge difference.
Exactly.
Like it'll already decrease from where you're at. Like you can't do worse.
Right.
You could only do like there's a lot of room to improve.
Exactly. Because like you said earlier, obviously it's going to obviously take time, but those like little improvements obviously are going to help like our environment like, drastically. Like, if even if there are like little changes, like each change, no matter what, is going to like help.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that comparison from like our countries and other countries and seeing like their benefits is like going to help like your like authenticity.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see. So I know you kind of hit on it, but why do you think this topic will hit home for the audience?
I think I think it's tough because like I think like my audience right now it's like Indiana, like you said, a lot of kids in our class are from Indiana. Like if I were still in like I used to go to school in North Carolina, or like Florida, I feel like if I gave this presentation, like people would be like, yeah, like we get it because like we see it, like people spring break in Myrtle Beach, and like Myrtle Beach's nickname is Dirty Myrtle because like it's like gross because like there's so much trash there. Yeah. So like I feel like what will hit home for them is like having them imagine just like the amount of trash waste they go through. Yeah. And then like kind of like be like, I think it's like like you never want to be told you're the worst in something. So like as a country to like when I tell them that like, you know, like America is number one in it, like we're really bad with it, and like compared to all these other places, but I think like that could kind of like strike a chord with them, and they'll be like, shit, we're really that bad. Yeah. Because you don't realize it until like, you know, you see it or like you're like consistently told. Right. So I think like doing that is what will be like, that's how the audience will be like, oh, like this is why I should care. Right. I think, because I think it's tough just because like I don't think like we're all college students too, you know, so it's like for us, like we're trying to do everything cheap, convenient, you know, whatever is easy and convenient. So I just think it comes down to like the way I'll deliver it, and I think like me throwing the plastic bags at the end of the like in the conclusion, I think that could be like a impactful statement, you know, and I feel like that might be like maybe that'll like flip the switch for like somebody who like doesn't even like give a crap, you know?
Right. And even like maybe even add pictures of the things that, because you're from Florida, right? So I even add pictures of like what spring breakers,
like a before and after picture of like how I'm telling you it's so bad. Yeah. Like my mom is like, Sarah, I can't go back to the beach for at least 2 more weeks because it's just so trash, you know? Like it gets so bad. Right. Not like where I live, it's not as bad because like usually people from the north just try and go down to like Panama City because it's like the closest place in Florida and it's like known for fun. But like, so it's not as bad as like in my area, but still like there's even like family members, like it's not just college kids, like the families that come in for vacation, like even
Right.
they're like vacation, so they're like, we don't care, like oh it's fine, just leave it, you know.
Yeah.
So I think showing those before and after pics is
because like even though like it doesn't affect us, it still like affects people that have to like deal with these things in like Florida,
California.
Myrtle Beach, just different areas that have like popular beaches where a mass amount of people are going to like go to
for sure.
Obviously for spring break or even like summertime.
Yeah.
So like even like, cause I feel like that will also hit home because
those who do go on vacation.
Yeah, because I think even like for spring break, I know I'm not gonna say people in our class, but like I'm sure like people that go to Ball State are probably like victims of this. So maybe even like incorporate that.
Yeah, like be like I could say maybe something like, you know, like I'm sure you guys have all gone. I'm gonna add that so I don't forget. I'm sure you guys. Like I could say like, you know, I'm sure you guys have been on spring break. You guys, maybe you guys didn't do it intentionally, but just think about like what you observed, or like, you know, the next time you go on spring break, like just think about it, like look around and just see the amount of waste that gets produced. Yeah. And then like, you know, like maybe they'll remember my speech and be like, oh crap, Sarah was right.
And
you
then,
know?
And then like, boom, then you can like be like, so like, I'm from Florida and we have a whole bunch of popular beaches, and then be like, oh, this is a before picture of like before spring break, before everybody comes down. Then
the locals,
and then show like the after picture of like
for sure
of things that happen at Guy's Beach where it takes like weeks at a time.
Yeah, no, it does. Yeah.
So I think that'll add more to it, because then the audience will be like, dang, like I know I've been in a situation where like I might not have been a victim,
but like you saw it, you know. And you think I could put that maybe like I could put that like towards like when I like the paragraph when I'm talking about waste, and then I could go with the spring breakers, and then I could add the story and the comparison photos in there.
Yeah, and then,
I think that would work.
Yeah, and then talk about like how you said like your mom be like, I can't go to the beach weeks at a time because like of what the people like spring breakers have done.
Yeah, for sure.
So then like cause like we said that since people from the Midwest don't really realize it, but in a sense they kind of like,
because they for sure go on vacation.
Right.
So
and Florida's probably the most popular.
I think so, because it's not like
break.
Indiana can go all the way out to Cali.
Yeah. So I think that definitely add more authenticity, because that's gonna be closer to your end, and then and then obviously you're gonna like have a plastic bag.
Yeah, I really like that plastic bag idea. I don't think I would have come up with that if we hadn't like talked about it.
Yeah. Let's see here. So basically, we got your intro, we got the middle, got the end. Let me see. So is there anything else like you want to add into it that you?
I think we've covered it all now. Like we have so much. Like I literally have so many like fill in the blanks. Like move this.
Yeah.
I think literally all I'll have to do is just like re-edit it, simplify it, and then like make either the PowerPoint guide. I doubt people are gonna use note cards. I don't really want note cards.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be better if I made like a PowerPoint slide that had photos and then just kind of like key point reminders, and then I can talk about each one going on.
Do you want to have like an aha moment for like your beginning, middle, and end?
I think it'll just be like my aha moment will be the imagining, and then the statistics, and then I think the last aha moment will be like when I dump the plastic bag. I think that'll leave like, even though there's not one like in the middle, I think since I start off with one that's like pretty like that, and that I'll end with it, I think that's pretty solid, you know?
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. And then I know you say you kind of like wanted to expand on your wording when it comes to like the plastic in general. So like, what other words do you want to like incorporate with it?
So instead of like saying, see, I think like when it comes to like the plastic bags, I think I just need to like go back and like re-edit like how I'll be talking about it, so that I'm not standing there and saying plastic bags. So I think I just need to like tidy up the way I want to present it. Just like make sure like I'm not repeating myself too much, and just kind of being like, the whole like idea of like flowing into the next idea.
Right.
So I think if I just practice like saying that section of what I want to talk about and just being like cautious of what I'm saying exactly, then I think I can just kind of limit the amount of times I say plastic bags.
Yeah. So do you think what you have now that what we worked on today, do you think our audience is gonna like be more prone to not using plastic?
I think, like I said, I think it's like a convenient thing. So I don't think people would stop unless like a legislation was passed that like forces someone's hand to do it.
Right.
But, like if I talk to 25 people, maybe 4 will be like crap, So like I think people will like maybe think about like maybe just have like a second thought towards it. But as far as like I said, I just think it's like a huge convenience thing. So like I could like spew facts and throw all this stuff and tell you like a dog dies every time you use a plastic bag.
Right, yeah.
And like if they're not seeing that dog die, they probably won't do it.
Yeah.
But I do think it'll like be in the back of their minds, and so maybe sometimes they'll be more cautious. Like if they're buying like one thing, they might be like, I don't need a bag, So like I think maybe like when it comes to the smaller things, they might be more cautious. But maybe just maybe it'll like stick to some people, and then to others it'll just be in the back of their minds.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
but overall, I think like it'll be a pretty good message if I can
But I say because like I feel like there are not a lot of people talk about things like that. So I think like what you have right now is gonna like obviously you're gonna like work on it some more, add some things to it, and probably even like scratch some things. So, but I think it's like really effective because like you said, not a lot of people are conscious about this thing.
Yeah.
So I think since you're talking about like a topic that needs to be talked about, more people are going to be like you say, more conscious.
Yeah, for sure.
And kind of have that second thought because these are things that like people need to talk about. So I think that adds more effect and authenticity to the aspect. So yeah, I think it's gonna be really good and like super effective.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a good topic.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
Want me to pause it?
Yeah, we're good.